Hey everybody, it's that time again of the week to talk about what's going on with the Olympics. This is your weekly update for what we're doing with the Connect 2020 game plan for ministry at the Olympics this summer and across this whole year of 2020. So, first thing I want to share with you guys is just kind of a little update on what's going on with the coronavirus and stuff here in East Asia. It's a little bit weird. It's a little bit surreal, I guess is the best word. So the coronavirus, I've been learning a lot about it myself, trying to stay educated on it and making sure that we're making the best decisions as we need to. And basically, the coronavirus is not such a big deal if you're healthy. Honestly, it's like the flu or any other basic sickness. So it's really one of those things that it's going to be more dangerous for older people, like much older people, or babies, or just people who are just generally weak. So that's where it really gets dangerous. And obviously, if you're not treating yourself and taking care of yourself, it can get bad too, lead to pneumonia and stuff like that. Anyways, pausing that real quick. Hey, Christy, thank you for joining us. Thank you for everyone who's popping in right now with the live stream. Thank you for joining us. Just giving a little quick update on the coronavirus and how that's affecting what's going on here. Anyways, as I was saying, the coronavirus isn't necessarily such a big deal if you're healthy. So I've been watching the news, watching just different sources of information, and kind of figuring out, okay, well, how is this going to impact us long term for what we're doing with the Olympics? One, the Olympics committee itself came out and made a statement, and they're like, nothing's getting canceled. There's nothing to worry about right now. We're still 6 months out, and this thing could easily be sorted out within 3 months. So who knows how it's going to all actually play out, but do know that we're taking a peek at it and making sure that we're staying on top of things. As a general rule, how it affects East Asia, one, you need to be praying for the Chinese people. That's plain and simple. The Chinese people are greatly affected by this. Their government has taken care of this, and maybe not the most appropriate way starting off, but they're doing what they can now. Is what it seems like. But what's hard about this is that people are going to be people around the world, and they're going to automatically assume that this coronavirus has something to do with the Chinese people and who they are in general. And it makes it easier to be mean to Chinese people, makes it easier to be racist towards Chinese people and things like that. And so it's one of those things that we as Christians have an opportunity to show grace and compassion. Doesn't matter if you have Chinese friends who are directly from China or ethnically Chinese, they're going to face that probably to some degree. So just let them know that you love them and that you're glad that they're there. And those kinds of things, if you're sensing that for them. So there's that, and then just all the things that are going on in East Asia for for companies and for travel and for all those things that do directly affect us and just our general mission life here in Japan. If people can't do things in relation to China, where are they going to go? So, when it comes to anything economically, everything that was going towards China, it can't get in right now. It can't do things. So, it basically gets bounced off like a shield, and it goes to Taiwan or to Japan or to where it makes sense. Or it goes back to America. And so that could have some interesting effects for us as we go this spring, and how we take our strategies forward with preparing for the Olympics. And it can affect Japan economically. It can affect just the flow of things, and unlike we had originally anticipated. So all that to be said, just be praying for the situation, be praying for the people in China, be praying for the people who, they've started blocking travel to certain places. If you've been to China, or if you are Chinese, or some different factors, and that can be pretty hard. What do you do if you can't get home? It's really hard. So it's a reality here. For life in Japan, face masks are flying off the shelf. I've learned more about face masks than I ever knew. So face masks are really, really intense right now. But this is the tricky thing. You can still get it if you have your eyes exposed. So most of the time, the face masks aren't necessarily helpful. So it's just a goofy and weird situation. Very, again, like I said at the beginning of the stream, surreal. But be praying for the Japanese as they sort through the coronavirus stuff. No one's died here. People have caught it here. There's a guy in Osaka, which is on the far other side of the country from us. It was a bus driver. He got it somehow. Tour guide, bus driver, I think. And so it's just goofy. Be praying about it. Be praying that it doesn't long-term affect the Olympics and what we're doing. And if it does, that God would help us to understand how to sort that out and work with that, and be compliant with what God's doing in that. Thank you again to everyone who is joining us on this live stream. We're so excited to have you here. We're excited to update you on what all is going on. So, talked about the coronavirus, and hopefully you understand a little bit better from what I've learned, and know how to better pray for the situation. Just be praying for East Asia in general. A hotel update. There's not much to update really at the moment. Nothing has really moved forward. Tara and I had a church partner in here for the majority of last week. And one of the things that we did was go look at hotels for their group coming in May. And Tara and I learned a lot. We learned that, it makes a huge difference in Japan to just go in person. When you live in a highly relational culture and a highly formal and personal culture when it comes to business and stuff like that, it makes a big difference to actually go in person. So we learned a lot. We learned a few things about how certain hotels work, and this is just a little anecdote from this week. We went into a hotel, and we had been having trouble with their website. And then we went in and was like, hey, we had trouble with the website. We just figured we'd come in here and talk in person and see if we figured it out. And they tried to get on their own website, and it didn't work for them. And then they told us, hey, can you try and do the website again, see if it works? And it didn't work. So, so there are challenges that happen like that, and it's really goofy. And as you can tell, it's not so straightforward to do the hotel thing. Even for getting hotel rooms in May when the demand is not going to be high. It'll be high because it's summer, but not Olympic demand. So please be praying for us as we continue to carve out some rooms here and there at different hotels. Next week, we're going to be having some of our Connect 2020 partners in country, those who are helping us with logistics and things like that. And we have a big meeting next week that's going to be a 3-day conference. And then the day after that, Thursday next week, we will be doing a hotel blitz day. So we're going to maximize all of our manpower. Hopefully our Tokyo team people will be jumping in with us on that. And we're just going to cover as much ground as we can on Thursday and get as many rooms as we can. This is the other crazy thing about hotels in Japan. You don't have to put money down until the day you get there, which is totally mind-boggling to me. The majority of the hotels that we went to said, yeah, you don't have to pay anything until you get here. We're like, what? Excuse me? That doesn't seem like a safe business practice, but that's what they do. And so that means that we can go out on behalf of our partner who's going to be essentially doing the paying part of the hotel stuff, and we can go out as their representatives and go and reserve as many hotel rooms as we can. So that will be happening next week. So please be praying for us as we go and do that next week. Especially be praying that they'll be within the same general space, like general area. So the less we have to spread out teams across Tokyo, the better. So another thing you guys can be praying for is Japanese pastors. So Japanese pastors have a lot on their plate, and many times they're also, in order to make big decisions for the church, they have to consult with their deacon team or leadership team or whatever they have at their church before they can move forward. And there are a lot of meetings that happen in Japanese culture, so you have to meet before you make a decision. And a lot of times that can slow down the process. It can bog it down a little bit. It can be a stalemate, and nothing can go anywhere. But there are pastors who do feel the need to do certain things, and they need to be respectful of that process, and they need to be respectful of the people at the church. And so an example of that was I was going to be going and speaking at a church this week or this Sunday, but it turned out that the pastor needed to talk with their leadership, and he's like, I can't have you come over like I thought I was going to be able to. I need to go talk with my leadership. And so and he has to respect the process, and I respect him for respecting the process. And he knows what he needs to do to be winsome in that situation. And I believe that we'll get another opportunity another day to go and speak with them. But it's a challenge to get things done, and 6 months out, that sounds like a whole lot of time, but it's really not a whole lot of time when it comes to the typical processes that happen here. So just know that the pastors need your prayer. There's a lot on their plates, and those pastors especially who jump on with us, they have to be salesmen sometimes, and they have to believe in what we're doing, and we have to be in our A game so that they can go and take that back to their churches. So be praying for the pastors here in Japan as they jump on board with what we're doing, or even just entertain the idea of that and the things that they have to do to make that happen, to even investigate it. Another thing that we can be praying about is this thing called an ideathon. So ideathon is something that is being put on by a group called Calm. Calm is it's basically a burgeoning group or community of professionals here in Japan, Christian professionals here in Japan, and they are basically bringing their professional skills to the table for this community and saying, hey, I can do this. Does anyone have any work that needs help with that? Or, hey, I have this need. Is there anyone in this community that can do this? And so it's called work sharing. And so they share their personal talents, skills, and abilities to benefit the community. And on top of that, they're also trying to do things like go dig deep into the theology of work. So how does our everyday work life play into our faith? Are these things separate, or can they be brought together? And just a few different things like that. And so we've been approached by Calm and in partnership with Japan Campus Crusade, and we're going to be putting on this thing called an ideathon. And an ideathon is a lot like a hackathon, where you bring in a bunch of people together to tackle a problem and find a solution. In a hackathon, you hire people to hack into your system and find vulnerabilities so that you can patch those up and make it harder for bad guy hackers to get in. And so with the ideathon, it's we have a problem, let's work on a solution. So let's put all of our ideas excuse me, all of our ideas from different points of view and backgrounds and yeah, just those different things to come together to find a solution, a product, or something like that. And so in this case, we're working on a product that or a solution that will help us with follow-up in the long term for all of our Christian organizations in the area. So basically a tool that we can use, and if we have a gospel conversation, point this person to it, and then if we never see them again, we can at least hope that this tool will get them further in their faith process, as well as eventually point them back to a healthy Christian organization or church or something like that can take them the rest of the way. So that's been really good. We've been working through that, and that Ideathon will be at TBC, or at Tokyo Baptist Church, on the 13th, it'll probably be the 13th, or it will be at the Japan Campus Crusade Center in Mitaka on, I think, the 21st. So we're still figuring out the day, but be praying for that. It can be really cool, and this is a great precedent to set for the Christian community as a whole. And we're looking forward to working with Calm. There's so many good things happening with our community of believers and their organizations here. So please be praying for that. Please be praying for us about this Sunday, actually Saturday through Sunday, at TBC, at Tokyo Baptist Church. We're going to be officially announcing TBC's involvement with Connect 2020 to the membership. So TBC has 5 services throughout the weekend. So Saturday night, 2 Sunday morning, 2 Sunday afternoon, evening. And we're going to be playing a video at each of those that has the pastors endorsing what we're doing. And then we're going to be on stage. We'll probably have our pins on and all that good stuff. And introducing the Connect 2020 plan to the church, since they're going to be a big part of it. And the pastors are all on board. It's very exciting. And so we're going to be doing that. That's going to be a long weekend. So please be praying for that. Let's see. So I'm going to share with you a couple of things that's going to lead us into some resources I want to share with you, and then we'll wrap up. So there is this prayer app called Grace 2020. I know it's going to be backwards, so please forgive me. All these resources I'm going to be putting in the description below on YouTube. I'll put links and information on that so you can find it. So if you're watching this live stream on Facebook Live right now, please wait for me to upload this video to YouTube, and look in the description there and you'll find that information. But anyway, so this Grace app is a prayer app put together by our Redeemer City to City church planting guys, and they're just collecting every single bit of prayer stuff that they can find, and they're putting it in this app, and it's really cool. It's going to be a great tool for everybody, every Christian that's coming in here to reach the Japanese and pray for this country. And so we're working with them some on that, and that leads us to just prayer at the Olympics. I want to emphasize very strongly that prayer is not an afterthought when we're doing ministry at the Olympics. Prayer is the first thought, and without prayer, things don't happen. Every major spiritual awakening, spiritual movement in the world that's ever happened is preceded by serious prayer. And if we don't have serious prayer, it ain't going nowhere. So we need to be praying, and we're going to be praying before, we're going to be praying during, we're going to be praying after. And so one of the things that we're developing right now is just kind of and this is particularly for the time that people are here in country, there is just a smattering of places across Tokyo that are both significant, maybe just to the city or to Japanese and Japanese personal faith, Japanese life. And we're going to be putting this on just kind of a general map and making individual prayer pieces for those locations. And so we can say, hey, today you guys are on prayer duty. You guys are going to be focused on prayer. And we need you to go to this place, this place, and this place. They're all strategic. Please go and pray at those places, on site with insight. And it's really cool. It's in development. It's nothing like super flashy or anything like that. It's just an organized map to help us be more substantial in our prayer across the city, and especially when we have so many people here. This very well may be the most this country has ever had prayer at one point. So even more so than back in 2011 when the triple disaster hit. I think is going to be the time that we have the most prayer for this country. And it could be a big deal. That prayer is going to move huge boulders that are holding spiritual development and spiritual awakening in this country. So please be praying for that. You'll find the link to that prayer app in the description on YouTube. Another thing I want to share with you guys is what we're calling our digital napkin. So this is a resource that we're going to be using, especially in the coffee house. You probably heard me talk about it before. So the digital napkin is just the way we want to story through the gospel, and all you really need is a napkin and a pen. So that's why we call it the digital napkin. But the digital part of it is we also want to have that conversation flow in a digital format. And we have one of our friends, actually one of Tara's old co-workers, who is a believer, and she loves Japan, and she was just elated to be able to join us in on this project. And so we've been storyboarding it here, and we've given her that storyboard, and she's already done some amazing work with it, and you'll see that come to fruition soon. And when that's done, I'll share that resource with you guys. And that digital napkin is based on the 3 circles and the bridge illustration. So 3 circles, I'll talk about in just a minute, but the bridge illustration is basically using, the wages of sin is death, and the free gift of God is eternal life, and that we're separated from God, and there's this gap, and you can't cross that gap no matter what you do. You try to jump over it, you could get a high jump pole and try and get across, but you're not going to get there, right? And so it's a fusion of these 2 and 3, and the 3 circles is in the beginning God, and He made us, and things were perfect, and we sinned and broken that relationship, and we're broken, and we need a resolution for that, and that was Jesus, and Jesus restores us back to that relationship with God. And so we're fusing these 2 together, and that 3rd circle is going to be a bridge. And so, yeah, as you can imagine with our Connect 2020 bridge logo, it's an easy fit for that. So when we get that together, you'll be able to see that, and it'll make a little bit more sense. But going back to resources, so on YouTube we have a playlist that we've started for training. So since we're using the 3 circles, people can go ahead and get familiar with the 3 circles if they're not already. There's a video that explains it, how to walk through it. That's my personal preferred way to share the gospel and talk through the gospel. It's easy to write on a napkin, but there's a video on the 3 circles there, as well as a 15-second testimony. And so it's basically like an elevator pitch testimony to spark conversation, but also share the essentials of your salvation story. And here's an example. There's a time when I was broken and far from God, and then I found out about Jesus, and I made Him king in my life, and now I feel whole, and I have a restored relationship with God. Do you have a story like that? And that's it. Mine's a little bit broader, but you can throw in specifics. But that's another tool we're going to be training on for the Olympics, and making sure people have that on their tool belt. Another resource I want to share with you guys is a book list that I have put together. I call it Books for Missionaries in Japan, but if you're coming to Japan to be intentional about your faith, this book list is for you. So it has some books like The Japanese Mind. It's a collection of essays by college students on specific words from Japanese that kind of give you their point of view of like how we interact with this word and use this word and what it means to us. I've got 2 books on there on honor and shame cultures. This is an honor and shame culture. Me from America, I come from a guilt innocence culture, and so the way we communicate the gospel is very different. So these are some great books on just kind of preparing people to come here. There's 10 books on this book list. I won't go over all of them, but I highly recommend them to you guys if you are just wanting something to read. Even if you're not coming here to serve, I highly recommend just taking a minute to read if you care about what we're doing here and want to know a bit better how we minister to people and communicate the gospel. These are some great books to check out. And then lastly, the IMB is 175 years old. happy birthday, IMB. That's pretty cool. And along with that, there is a IMB prayer app, and on the IMB prayer app, they're doing 175 days of consecutive prayer. And so it's just this prayer plan that you will be prompted. If you have the IMB prayer app, it'll do a push notification and remind you of the topic to pray for that day. And so I want to invite you guys to join us as we do this 175 days of prayer. You're praying for us. You're praying for the work around the world. And yeah, it's really important to pray, as I said before. Very, very critical. So that's all I got for you guys today. Again, those resources will be put in the description on YouTube. I might copy and paste those into Facebook as well. But just know that you can find those resources. I'd like to up our live streaming game if possible, actually do some more contextually rich stuff, like having photos on here that aren't backwards because I'm showing them on my camera that's showing it backwards, or live links and things like that. But for the meantime, it's just going to be plain old simple live stream like we got right now. But yeah, find those resources there. And if you have any questions or anything, please put them as a comment on this video, or just post them in our Facebook group, or if you're on YouTube, post comments on the video. And the last thing I'll say before we go is we're shooting for 1,000 subscribers on our YouTube page. If we hit 1,000 subscribers, I can use my phone, which I'm using now, to live stream on YouTube and do it all there instead of live streaming on Facebook and then downloading that video and then uploading it to YouTube, which is what I have to do now. And so if we do that, then we can actually take our phones out to what we're doing during ministry and things like that, and do sort of like an on-scene reporting kind of situation. And you can use the GoPro and all that good stuff, and it's going to be much better production quality, all that fun stuff. So if you haven't already, please go to www.youtube.com/connect2020 and subscribe. All you gotta do is just log into your Google Gmail or whatever, your Google login, and then you can subscribe to the YouTube page. So thank you again for joining us, and we will talk to you soon. Bye.